game play out live. Unlike Survivor or The Challenge, where everything is pre-recorded months in advance, Big Brother is happening in real time, and all it takes is one Paramount Plus account, and you can watch the live feed cameras inside the house 24 hours a day. Or at least that's what they say. Although it's touted as 24/7 access, it isn't actually. Sometimes the feeds turn off, and you can't see what's happening. And that's the main basis for this entire series. You see, sometimes in Big Brother, things just don't add up. Whether there's something fishy about a particular player's actions, or there's a series of events that play out a bit too perfectly to be a coincidence, I refuse to turn a blind eye and just accept it. I go looking for answers. When Big Brother hides the truth, we fill in the blanks ourselves. Over the last 3 years, I have dedicated myself to finding and unearthing as many Big Brother secrets as I could. The results? Well, let's just say that I found 50 different conspiracy theories. Some of them were wildly popular ones, like the infamous theory that Helen Kim was pushed off the wall in Big Brother 15. But there were others out there that had extremely little coverage, like how Big Brother 5 had other twin twists planned, as well as some other very suspicious casting stories. So this video here is the culmination of all my efforts, my 10-part Big Brother Conspiracy Theories series taped together and slapped into one 2-hour and 40-minute binge pie. If this is your first time seeing a conspiracy video, then you're in luck because everything is right here. If this isn't your first rodeo and you've been following along since the beginning, then hey, why not watch all of them again? Before we begin, all I ask is that you go ahead and check if you're subscribed to the channel. We're about 12K away from hitting my goal of 100,000 subscribers, and every sub helps. Now, without further ado, sit back and enjoy 50 of Big Brother's most enticing and mysterious conspiracy theories.
It is the hardest competition yet, but my Big Brother life is on the line, so I'm staying on this plank for as long as it takes. Bye guys, love you!
You are perfect.
So, let's start things off with a big one. The first conspiracy theory that we'll talk about today is the theory that production forced Portia to open Pandora's box in Big Brother 13 in an attempt to keep both Jordan and Rachel safe. This is probably one of the most well-known and talked about conspiracy theories in all of Big Brother, and for good reason. It was at the final 6 of Big Brother 13, and Portia had won the HOH. Portia's 2 targets were the last 2 remaining veterans in the house, Rachel and Jordan, and given Portia's position, she had the power to guarantee that one of them went home. But Pandora's box was presented to Portia, which she accepted, and the consequence was that the duo's twist would come back into the game. Rachel and Jordan then became a duo, and once Rachel won the veto, Rachel was able to take both herself and Jordan off the block, keeping them both safe in a week where one of them should have been guaranteed to be evicted. Already, it seemed a bit suspicious that the instant the last 2 remaining veterans were in danger, a twist that could save both of them was brought into the game, but it gets even more concerning once Portia revealed on the live feeds that she was forced into opening the box. It's been stated that Portia did not want to open Pandora's box when it was presented to her, but production wouldn't accept that as an answer. They kept Portia up in the HOH room for hours and wouldn't leave her alone until she changed her mind and opened the box, which she eventually did, and that's what
so
unleashed the duo's twist back into the house. Now, this is one that I definitely believe. Earlier in that day, Portia said that she would not open Pandora's box for $10,000, so it's odd that she would have willingly opened the box when the incentive was $10,000. I really do believe that Portia did not want to open Pandora's box, but the constant urging by the production team eventually led to her giving in. However, I don't think it was technically forced. The producers didn't physically grab Portia's hand and make her open the door. They probably just pushed and pushed with their words until she gave in. It is entirely plausible that Portia could have called production's bluff and just waited it out in the HOH room until they inevitably had to give up in order to continue running the show. Think of it like an unconventional endurance comp. If Portia could outlast production, she could have gotten away with not opening the box, but it seems like she dropped out of this hypothetical endurance comp after only just an hour. Now, it's totally possible that there is more to the story than this, but this is just how I interpret things. So, while I don't think the theory that Portia was forced to open Pandora's box is necessarily true, I definitely believe that production kept her in the HOH room and pushed for her to open it until she eventually did.
Just not take me.
I win HOH! So now I get to make the decisions in the house. Yeah, me, the hostess with the mostess.
Can we go ahead and get evicted?
What the fuck was that shit?
Over with.
Jordan and I realized that there's no way that Jordan and I can even be in this game now together.
A few
What the
moments
fuck was that
later.
shit? Oh my god.
Pandora's very tricky.
Floor
It could
5
be
is so
something
ass, dude.
good or bad. I mean, hopefully good for me. Could it be something bad?
2 hours later.
All right, I'm going in. House guest, I have opened Pandora's box. In doing so, I have unleashed the duo twist back on the house for 1 week. Opening Pandora's box was the worst game move I've made so far. Now if I put up Rachel and Jordan and just one of them wins the veto, they're both safe. That's 1 newbie out, 2 veterans in. Oh no. Congratulations, Rachel. You won the power of veto.
Thank you. Since I have the power of veto, it gives me the power to remove us both from the chopping block. Game on, guys.
Up next, we have a pretty fun one, and that's the theory that in Big Brother 8, production didn't put Eric's name in the veto drawing bag due to him effectively not being allowed to use the veto. This is a really interesting one, and there is surprising merit to it. For some background information, Eric was America's player in Big Brother 8, which meant that he basically acted as a puppet for the fans throughout the season. Every determinate game action that Eric made was decided by America, whether it be who he should align with, who he should target, and who he should vote out. So, following along with this standard, if Eric were to win the veto, then America would be the ones to decide if he would use it to save someone or not, right? Well, there's actually a bit of a dilemma here. The way that the week of Big Brother works is that typically an HOH is crowned on Thursday, nominations are made on Friday, the veto is played on Saturday, and the veto meeting is held on Monday. But the casual viewers, which made up the large majority of America's player voters, wouldn't know that Eric won the veto until the Tuesday episode aired. So it would be impossible for them to vote on whether or not Eric should use the veto without spoiling the episode ahead of time, as the veto meeting would have already taken place. The solution that the producers came up with was that if Eric won the veto, he just wouldn't be allowed to use it. And we even saw this take place when Eric won the veto at the final 7. He wanted to use the veto, but because there wasn't enough time to have the viewers vote on a decision, Eric was forced to leave the nominees the same. Now, I can see how the showrunners wouldn't want to be put in that position too often. So one way to try and limit the chances of this happening would be to try and have Eric play in as few veto competitions as possible. So the conspiracy theory is that the producers never put Eric's name in the veto drawing bag so that he would rarely be picked to play in the veto. I know it sounds silly, but based on the statistics, it's entirely possible that this is true. Throughout 8 veto draws, Eric's name was not drawn a single time. The odds of this happening is very low, and while it's not impossible, it's a little suspicious that Eric, of all players, was the one who never saw
Oh
their
my
name
god,
in
can I
it.
fucking pass
Now,
this
one
shit?
thing going against this theory is that it would have been incredibly easy for the players to discover if Eric's name was not in the bag.
So
All it
done
would
with this
take would
fucking-
be one
that
player
fucking shit,
dropping
dude.
the bag and
So
having all
annoying.
the names exposed, which would reveal
What
that
the
Eric's name was
fuck?
missing and raise a ton of questions that the Big Brother team would not want to answer. We even saw Frankie go through the veto bag in Big Brother 16 to ensure that his name was actually in there, so something similar easily could have happened here as well. So even though I find the whole situation quite suspicious, I feel that it would have been way too easy for the house guests to accidentally uncover the truth, so I'm gonna say that this conspiracy theory isn't all that likely.
So I haven't played in any of the Power of Vetoes yet, but now that I know about the mystery trip outside of the Big Brother house, I want to play badly. This is finally gonna be my week. Here it comes. It's me.
House guest choice.
Jessica.
Zach. And Zach.
House guest choice. Guess what? Lucky you, dude.
Congratulations, Eric. You have won the power of veto.
That's it.
Welcome to the veto competitions, baby!
Oh my god, since Eric won the power of veto this time, that means there's a strong potential chance of backdooring Dick or Danielle in this game.
If he really cared and wanted to do exactly what I thought, he would use the power veto.
If Eric was the smart player, he would put Danielle up. This is a golden opportunity.
They say to expect the unexpected, and that is why I am choosing to not use the power of veto this week.
America, I know you guys wanted Amber nominated for the second straight week, so I did not use the veto. Let's keep her up there, and now you have the choice to send her home if you like.
For the third conspiracy theory, we have one that I have only heard one or two people talk about. However, I think there's something solid here, and that's the theory that in week 1 of Big Brother 12,
Why the fuck was that? Oh my god.
Production kept pushing him to not nominate her. To set the scene, it was week 1 of Big Brother 12. Hayden had won the HOH and was targeting the newly formed showmance of Brendan and Rachel, so he nominates them both for eviction. Brendan wins the veto to save himself, so Hayden naturally needs to pick a replacement nominee. One of the names that Hayden was tossing around was Annie, and this is where things get interesting. This was unknown to the other house guests, but Annie was actually the secret main twist of Big Brother 12. Annie was chosen to be the saboteur before the season began, and her role was to cause chaos and disrupt the flow of the house throughout the season. Obviously, the production team wouldn't want Annie to be the first house guest evicted because they assuredly had weeks and weeks of sabotage planned for her to enact. So, the theory is that the producers would try to dissuade Hayden from nominating Annie whenever he brought it up in the diary room. However, these subtle hints that Hayden was receiving actually had the opposite effect. Because production was pushing for him to not nominate Annie, it tipped him off that something was up and that he probably should nominate her because of it. So, Hayden then goes ahead and nominates Annie as Brendan's replacement, and by the end of the week, Annie, the saboteur, became the first evicted house guest of Big Brother 12. Now, how much of this do I believe? Well, I don't think this is a super far-fetched theory. Production obviously would want to keep Annie in the game, but they can't flat out say anything to the house guest to try and keep her safe. So, the next best thing to do would be to subtly influence the HOH into maybe going in a different direction. However, I could definitely see the house guests picking up on this, and I don't think it takes a genius to add up that something might be fishy with a certain player if the producers are trying to get you to keep her. So overall, I think that this theory has some merit, although I definitely don't think that it's like 100% confirmed.
I'm pretty pissed off right now. Brendan's got power in the house now. He's gonna pull himself off the block, no doubt about it. That leaves me wondering who I'm gonna put up to replace him. Everybody's pulling me in different directions, including people within the brigade. Enzo wants Annie. Lane thinks it might be a good idea to keep Annie around and put up Kathy. And I really don't know what I'm gonna do yet.
Our replacement nominee is
Kathy gonna go up?
Annie. I'm sorry, Annie. I really am.
Oh no, I knew it was gonna happen. Lies, weave, evil webs.
Ooh, I'm so pissed. I'm pissed. I never thought week 1 people would be dumb enough to put somebody like me on the block.
By a vote of 10-0, Annie, you are evicted from the Big Brother house.
Hello, house guests. Hope you enjoyed my latest sabotage, but unfortunately, it's going
to be my last. That's right, guys. It's me.
Oh my god, Annie's a saboteur. I feel like a freaking king right now. You know, I'm the one that put her up. She's a saboteur and she's out of here. I love it.
Coming up next, we have a bit of a modern theory, and that's that the Wactivity comp powers in Big Brother 21 were actually just the unused power apps from Big Brother 20. If there's a theory that has the most validity to it, it's probably this one. In Big Brother 20, there were 5 power apps in the BB App Store that the most trending house guests could choose from. However, this was only offered 3 times, meaning that there would be 2 unchosen powers left over when all was said and done. These 2 powers ended up being the redraw power and the upgrade power. And what do you know, when Big Brother 21 rolls around and there are 3 new powers, 2 of them fit weirdly well with the leftover power apps. One power, the Chaos power, gave the holder the ability to have the veto chips redrawn if they weren't satisfied with the players chosen to play in the veto competition. That sounds exactly like what the description would be for the redraw power app. Then another power, the Panic power, gave the holder the ability to upgrade any week's golden power of veto into the diamond power of veto, which, yet again, sounds exactly like what the description could be for the upgrade power app. While I was browsing the Big Brother 21 wiki page, it even said that these two powers were the unchosen powers from the BB App Store, although there was no citation there, so that might not actually be 100% confirmed, but for me, this one is pretty much as close to a guarantee as you can get. So, I'll call it a true conspiracy theory.
Please browse the available power apps and make your selection.
Redraw, upgrade.
Congratulations on winning the Chaos Activity Comp. You have now earned the Chaos Power. This power allows you to force a new veto picking player's draw.
You have now earned the Panic Power. This power will send everyone at the veto meeting into a panic because you now have the ability to turn the golden power of veto into the diamond's power of veto.
And now, to end things off, we have the holy grail of Big Brother conspiracy theories, and quite possibly the greatest conspiracy theory
What the fuck am I
of
doing?
humankind. Was Helen pushed in the Battle Back competition in Big Brother 15? During the competition, the players had to stand on a small platform and catch softballs thrown at them without falling off. Helen was one of the participants trying to get back into the game. However, about 50 minutes into the competition, Helen fell off her pedestal and was eliminated. But there exists a conspiracy theory that Helen was actually pushed off of her pedestal by a member of production that was behind the competition structure, or at the very least, she was tapped on the foot as a signal for her to fall off. On the live feeds during the comp, you can see a member of production walking behind Helen just moments before she fell off. And to be fair, it did seem that Helen fell for seemingly no reason, which is probably what helped spark this theory in the first place. A possible explanation as to why production would want Helen to fall is that because of all the bad press Big Brother was receiving at the time, due to the racism and prejudices circulating inside the house, the production team didn't want Helen to re-enter the house, so they paid her off in order to avoid further controversies. So, with a reason that at least makes a tiny bit of sense, as well as the conspicuous footage of a production member walking behind Helen right before she mysteriously fell off, is it true that Helen was indeed pushed? Well, I hate to burst the fun bubble, but I highly doubt that this was true. For starters, I definitely don't think that she was pushed, and if this theory were to even be remotely true, I'd lean towards her being tapped on the foot as a signal to jump off as opposed to being pushed off. But even then, I think it's just a coincidence that someone walked behind her before she fell. I just don't see it adding up in a way that can convince me of this being true, so my honest answer is that Helen was, in fact, not pushed. But I'll be damned if I ever stop saying that she was. Justice for Helen.
It is the hardest competition yet, but my Big Brother life is on the line, so I'm staying on this plank for as long as it takes.
To start things off, let's talk about one that I just mentioned. The first conspiracy theory of the day is the theory that the producers actually forbade Brendan from nominating Brittany during his HOH reign in Big Brother 12 due to the fact that he definitively told her that he was going to nominate her. In the Big Brother rulebook, it is technically a rule that the HOH cannot definitively tell anyone who their nominations are going to be. You can use implicit verbiage, such as, I'm thinking about nominating you, or I'm considering nominating you, but you're technically not allowed to flat out say, I'm nominating you. This rule is, to put it simply, very loosely enforced. There are dozens of instances of HOHs saying that they're going to nominate someone without any of those buffer words, yet they face no repercussions. However, it seems like it was enforced one sole time, and that was during Brendan's HOH in Big Brother 12.
Oh my God.
Brendan and Brittany were sworn enemies inside the house, so once Brendan won the HOH, it seemed like a sure thing that Brittany would be his target for the week. So given that information, it was certainly a surprise to see that Brittany not only managed to avoid being an initial nominee, but once the veto was used, she also managed to avoid being the replacement nominee. As a viewer, it was very head-scratching, but it all starts to make a little bit of sense once you learn the theory that Brendan was actually forbidden from nominating Brittany. Brendan supposedly told Brittany in the beginning of the week that he was going to put her on the block. But since Brittany was a fan favorite, production took the opportunity to finally enforce the rule that you cannot explicitly tell a house guest that you're going to nominate them, therefore making Brittany immune from being nominated and forcing Brendan to look elsewhere for a target. As far as I can tell, this theory is almost confirmed to be true, so it gets the Ethanimale seal of approval as a true conspiracy theory.
Alright, I guess I'll be picking 3 have-nots for the week. Reagan, Brittany, and Matt.
I cannot eat. I cannot take showers. I'm gonna be on the block. I have to deal with the freaking Neanderthal, and it's gonna be really freaking tough.
Who wants to see my HOH room? Alright.
Not really anybody. I'd rather fall down the spiral staircase and break my neck than make it all the way up to the HOH room and have to look at his stuff.
So, I mean, the bottom line is, I think I'm gonna end up putting up Lane and Brittany. I'm gonna bring Brittany up and see what she has to say. Tell me, why should I not put you up?
I will do whatever I have to do.
Yeah? If I don't nominate you, am I safe?
What you do will do for me, I will do for you.
And I can trust you on that.
You can trust me on that. I am about 100% sure that I'm going up on the block.
Brittany, you're safe.
Thank you, Brittany. I'm shocked. I honestly can't believe it.
The replacement nominee is Matt.
Up next, we have one of the most talked about theories ever, and that's in large part thanks to Zach Rance. The conspiracy theory in question is that the producers changed one of the Battle of the Block competitions in Big Brother 16 in order to give Frankie an edge to win. In week 7, Frankie had been exposed as a gigantic liar to the whole house, and he therefore became the #1 target. Wanting a plan to ensure that Frankie remained on the block, Caleb volunteered himself to be nominated next to Frankie so that he could throw the Battle of the Block to ensure that Frankie would remain on the block and be evicted. The theory goes that once production heard that Caleb planned on sitting out, they saw an opportunity to make a big moment. They tore down their originally planned Battle of the Block competition, then built a new one that just so happened to be easier to win if your partner was sitting out, which of course led to Frankie winning the Battle of the Block all on his own. The theory also states that once Caleb realized what type of competition it was, he wanted to play in it to actually throw it, but production forbade him from playing because he already said that he was going to sit out, which adds to the fishiness of it all. A lot of this theory comes from Zach Rance on an Instagram live session, but there's some pretty solid evidence to support this claim. For starters, the players in the house claim that it sounded like the construction team set up an original competition, then tore it all down to set up a brand new second competition. Also, it's the only Battle of the Block to take place at night, and since it would obviously take a lot of time to tear down and set up an entirely new comp, it all begins to add up and make sense. Everything surrounding this competition is pretty fishy. However, the only thing that gives me any sort of pushback is that the 2 players on the other team, as well as the HOH that would be dethroned, Zach, Donnie, and Nicole, were the actual 3 fan favorites of the season. So rigging a competition that jeopardizes the safety of these favorites just to save Frankie sounds a bit odd, but there's so much evidence to it that I do personally believe that this Battle of the Block competition was changed in order to give Frankie an edge to win.
I tell you what, if you would feel safe, I will throw a competition.
He has no idea that Beast Mode Cowboy is in this comp to throw it, to lose it, and to ensure that his butt stays on the block.
You excited?
When I looked at him in the eyes and he wouldn't meet my gaze, I knew he was going to throw this competition.
We're not throwing this. Throw me under the bus, you throw Derek under the bus, you throw him under the bus, you throw Cody under the bus. You done it. I'm not playing this game with you. So play change by yourself.
Yeah, we gotta get up there, Donnie.
Congratulations, Caleb and Frankie. You have won the Battle of the Block.
Oh, we got it?
I took my fate into my own hands and won a 2-person competition by myself. Yes!
Literally, they set up an entire competition in the backyard. They took down the entire competition to build a completely different one. And then it was easier by yourself, and Frankie won, yada, yada, yada.
Now, we have a theory that I know many people believe in, but it has never been proven to be true, and that's the theory that the Big Brother 11 first HOH was designed in a way to ensure that Jesse was the sole returning player. The way that Big Brother 11 worked is that the incoming house guests were split into 4 teams based on high school cliques. The athletes, the brains, the offbeats, and the populars. And each team had a quote-unquote champion outside the house that was represented by a former Big Brother player, and whichever team won the first HOH comp would have their respective former player enter the game as their own house guest. The competition that was chosen for the first HOH was an endurance-styled comp, and to be fair, having an endurance competition is probably the most fair type of challenge to equalize the strengths of all 4 cliques. But this competition was a very strength-based endurance challenge, which would naturally favor the athletes. Now, do I think it was a guarantee that the athletes were going to win and Jesse was going to return? Definitely not. I think that it's possible that another clique could have won, but it would be a lie to say that it didn't look favored for the athletes to win. There's also a rumor that the showrunners felt bad for how they screwed over Jesse in Big Brother 10, and therefore they influenced the odds towards Jesse's favor for being the sole returning player in Big Brother 11. But I don't know. If they really just wanted to bring Jesse back, they could have just done it like they did with Paul in Big Brother 19. So as far as this theory goes, I don't know if I would go as far as to say that the first HOH was rigged in order to ensure that Jesse was the sole returning player, but I would argue that it looked at the very least favored for Jesse to return.
Coming up, the mysterious 4 will be revealed. Which one of them will earn the final spot in the Big Brother house?
I'm bigger and better than last year by 20 lbs and almost a whole inch on my gun.
If your clique wins the first head of household competition of the summer, not only will you be moving back into the Big Brother house, but you will become the first HOH.
This is fun.
It is now Brayden versus the 2 athletes.
Yes! There we go.
So Jesse, are you ready for your shot at redemption?
Yes!
Well, good luck. You may re-enter the Big Brother house.
Up next, we have a theory that I myself believed to be fact for a really long time, but now I'm not so sure. And that's the theory that Big Brother 12 was supposed to have a pre-jury battle back, but the producers decided against it after Hayden revealed too much information about the brigade to Kristen in his goodbye message to her. As the rumor goes, there was supposedly going to be some sort of battle back between Annie, Monet, Andrew, and Kristen, and even though I've seen a lot of people, including myself, take this as fact, I now have the hardest time believing that it's true. Let's take a step back and look at this in the eyes of a showrunner. You've been planning this secret twist for months that would for sure shock the house guests in viewers.
Fuck.
Kristen was just evicted. You've got your 4
Fucking
players ready
hate
to
that
play, but
shit,
then,
dude. So annoying.
oh no, Hayden just told Kristen about the brigade in his message to her. Looks like we gotta scrap the whole thing. No. That is like the craziest outcome to fall to. Wouldn't it have been easy to, cut Hayden's goodbye message to not include the part about the brigade? Or even have him film a different goodbye message instead of, canceling an entire battle back? I feel like this reason to cancel a pre-jury battle back has so many holes in it that I can't believe it. So, even though this rumor has been floating around for ages, and even though I've seen some pretty credible sources claim it to be true, I cannot find it in my heart to believe this. So I'm personally classifying this one as just a theory and nothing more.
By a vote of 6-1, Kristen, you are evicted from the Big Brother house. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we listen to your goodbye tape, because I think it might help clear things up.
Okay.
I want you to know and hear it from me, Matt, Enzo, Lane, and myself are in an alliance called the Brigade. But if I would have had to choose between you and the Brigade, I would have chosen you. I'm gonna miss you a lot. Goodbye.
And now, for the final conspiracy theory, we've got a big one. This is the theory that Dick was able to cheat during the final HOH of Big Brother 8. I've talked about this challenge once before, and even though I've analyzed it way more than I should have, I still don't know. It was part 3 of the final HOH in Big Brother 8, and it was a showdown between Dick and Zach. The winner likely wins the season, so the stakes were super high. Dick took a 1-0 lead after the first question, but from here, things get a little suspicious. For the remaining 5 questions, not only did Dick always answer the same thing as Zach, but he always put up his answer after Zach did. There were a lot of mirrors in the Big Brother 8 house, and the theory goes that after taking a 1-0 lead on Zach, Dick used one of the mirrors in the living room to secretly cheat. He would always wait for Zach to answer first, and then using the mirrors, he'd be able to see what Zach answered, and then he would put down the same thing. If Dick was always answering the exact same as Zach, then no matter if he was right or wrong, it would be impossible for Zach to overtake Dick's lead, and Dick would therefore be guaranteed to win the final HOH. Throughout the competition, there were many times where Dick would hold one answer, Zach would lock in a different answer, and then Dick would seemingly change his mind and coincidentally switch to whatever choice Zach chose. This is all just speculation, of course, but when you look at it all cut together, it does look pretty suspicious. And since we know Dick was not above cheating in the past, I definitely wouldn't put it past him to cheat here if he saw the opportunity. So I personally believe this one to be true.
In just a few moments, the final round of the HOH competition will play out live. Dick and Zach will compete to become the final head of household. Correct answer is A, giving Dick 1 point. Answers, please. I need an answer, Dick. Answers, please. Answers, please.
There's no way I just did the same fucking thing again.
Said. Answers, please. Answers, please. I need an answer. Let's hear what Jessica said. Congratulations, Dick. You are the final head of household.
To start things off, we're going to be talking about a week that every Big Brother fan should be familiar with. The week of Dan's funeral. The theory in question, though, is not actually about that, but instead about another event that took place that week. This theory states that at the final 8 of Big Brother 14, once Frank won the HOH and made it clear that his #1 target was Dan, the production team put Pandora's box in the game specifically to try and save Dan. Pandora's box released a second veto into the house for the week that Frank was not allowed to compete in, and the theory states that this veto was only put in the house to give Dan an additional shot at safety. However, it proved to be unsuccessful as Ian ended up winning it instead. Now, it definitely does look a little bit suspicious. As soon as Dan is in legitimate danger, not only is a second veto added for the week, but Frank, the comp beast of the season, isn't allowed to play in it, which massively improves Dan's odds of winning it. I don't know where I saw it, but I think I even remember Dan himself saying that he thought that this second veto was added specifically for him, although since I don't remember where I saw that, I can't confirm that that's true.
Why I failed this 3 times?
That this theory has some validity to it, I don't think that there's nearly enough evidence to confirm that there was any intentional production interference involved. Maybe Big Brother was trying to throw Dan a bone by adding in a second veto for the week, but maybe it was just the plan all along. This second veto competition was not structured in a way that would give Dan any real advantage in winning it, unlike when Rachel won the veto during Portia's Pandora's box in Big Brother 13. So if the producers were really trying to save Dan here, I feel like they would have gone the extra step to give Dan a competition that he'd excel in, as opposed to an arcade claw machine. Speaking of which, the arcade claw machine was always in the house, so this second veto comp was likely always planned to happen. In the end, while the puzzle pieces definitely are there and can be put together, I personally feel that the second veto was always planned for that week, and it was just a coincidence that Dan happened to be the target there.
Frank wins the HOH.
Oh my fucking god.
There's no doubt in my mind who he's gonna put up, but I'm gonna do
Why
whatever
I failed
it
this
takes
shit
to stay
4
in this
times?
house,
This is
and
insane.
I'm gonna slither my way out this week one way or another.
I'm HOH this week. I go upstairs.
Why? Literally why? Oh my god.
I just hope it has nothing to do with some sort of twist that's gonna hurt me this week.
Pandora's box has been
so fucking
opened.
done
As a
with that
result, a
shit.
second veto could be unleashed into the house.
I know I'm in trouble this week, so the fact there's a second veto possibly floating around it and I can win it is huge. This could be the lifeline I need to get me to the next step in the game. Ian wins a veto. I'm disappointed in myself. I could have avoided Frank's wrath, but I missed my chance.
Up next is probably one of my favorite conspiracy theories that I've covered so far, and that's the theory that in Big Brother 5, both Drew and Diane were considered to be a part of the twin twist with their identical twins, but they were eventually not chosen in favor of Natalie and Adria. For those that are unaware, one subset of the Project DNA twist in Big Brother 5 was the twin twist, where sisters Natalie and Adria would secretly switch places inside the house, pretending to just be one person without being caught. However, these twins weren't the only players in the house familiar with being identical, and what seemed too good to be just a coincidence, both Drew and Diane were also identical twins, but their other halves were sitting at home and were not involved in the show whatsoever. But there exists a theory that states that both Drew and Diane were considered for the twin twist, yet they ultimately weren't selected. It has been stated that both Drew and Diane had their twins participate in the casting process as well, with Diane even saying that the casting producers made her twin try on many different outfits, which, if I had to guess, likely had to do with them wanting to see if Diane and her twin could really pass off as the same person. The most likely outcome here is that Drew and Diane just didn't look as identical to their twins as Natalie and Adria did, which is why they ultimately weren't chosen for the twist. But it is still interesting that they eventually made it onto the cast without their twin. So as far as the theory goes, I would say that it is definitely likely that Drew and Diane were at the very least considered to be the twins featured in the twin twist, but likely were scrapped.
No, dude. Oh my god, I fucking fail at RNG
much
shit.
more identical in comparison.
I'm Drew, and I'm going from twin brother to big brother.
That's my sister.
Oh, how sweet.
I'm just loving this twin thing, I tell you. Drew, twin, last week got HOH, and then Diane, twin, gets HOH this week, and I'm loving it.
All right, so we got 2 sets of twins. I have a twin sister, Lindsay.
My brother's name's Ben, and this is like the first time we've been apart for more than like 4 days.
Fuck you. Oh my god. Can I stop looping for 2 fucking seconds?
Switching in and out sporadically.
Looking ahead to this next theory, we have one that is extremely recent and was a very hot topic when it happened. The theory in question is that in the week 2 HOH of Big Brother 24, Jasmine's foot did actually touch the ground, but due to all the commotion of her twisting her ankle, the producers decided to just let her move on, leading to her eventual HOH win. This is one that I really wanted to believe when it happened, but as time has gone on, I don't really think it's true. It was during the second HOH of Big Brother 24, and the first part had the players face off head-to-head in an obstacle course. If you touch the floor at any point during this obstacle course, you'd have to reset. During Jasmine's turn, while she was on the rock wall, she slips and it looks like her foot may have touched the floor, as you can even see confetti move from the spot where her foot was. Jasmine continued on as if nothing had happened, and she finished first.
Fuck you.
But after she dismounted, she landed on her ankle.
Oh my god! Why? I'm so fucking pissed off at this.
Unsure of the result.
It's so annoying.
It looked like she may have touched the floor, but due to Jasmine's injury, all
Why
of
can't
the
I
attention was focused on
without lip
that.
failing, dude?
Eventually, they said that they checked the tapes and that Jasmine didn't touch the floor, which meant that she could move on to the next round, where she did actually.
Where do I jump to?
However, there is a theory that her foot did touch the ground, but due to her injury, the production team decided that it would just be easier to say that she didn't touch, so they wouldn't have to redo her round. When looking at the footage, it looks really, really close. You can see the confetti move on the floor from where her foot dropped to, but it's possible that the wind from her falling was enough to shuffle the confetti around, so I'm not sure if the confetti argument has enough weight to it. At the time that this aired, I truly believed in my heart that she touched, because it genuinely looked like she did, but now that I've sat on it for almost a year and have taken the bias out of the equation, the most likely answer is that the production team wasn't lying, and that Jasmine did in fact not touch the floor, but it still goes down as one of the more controversial comp results in recent memory.
All right, congratulations, Jasmine.
Actually,
hang on. Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for helping Jasmine. We will be right back. All right, Jasmine. We have confirmation that you won. We checked tape, so stay there and celebrate that win. All right, you earned it, lady.
Now up next is one that I used to see talked about a lot, and for the sake of wanting to talk about it myself, I've included it here. And that's the theory that Big Brother 21 introduced a more physically focused endgame to help Jax and Mickey get to the end. For those that don't know,
No
the
way.
endgame competitions of older Big Brother seasons typically were a solid mix of mental puzzles, quizzes, and the occasional physical comp. However, Big Brother 21's endgame consisted of almost entirely physical competitions, which clearly favored Jackson over the rest of the competitors. Now, I'm just going to say that I absolutely do not think this is true in the slightest. For starters, the trend of a more physical endgame started with Big Brother 20, so to say that it was introduced for Jackson in Big Brother 21 would be slightly inaccurate. Secondly, I really don't think the producers were pushing for a Jackson win at this point. Nicole Anthony was clearly the fan favorite, and you can even tell that Julie was a huge Nicole fan by her reaction when she won the double eviction HOH. Also, with the way that they kind of threw Jackson under the bus at the finale, I highly doubt that they were going out of their way to
This is
a
so
Jackson win. So,
Can I
as
go on
far
this?
as conspiracy theories go, I'm gonna have to rate this one pretty low. If anything, I think a more physical endgame is the direction that Big Brother has wanted to strive for, as we've seen that happen in every season since Big Brother 21 as well. So overall, I definitely do not think that Big Brother 21 made the endgame competitions more physical in order to help Jackson make it to the end.
I have got to bring home a win in this veto.
No, damn it. No. Damn it. You kidding me? Damn it. Oh, damn it.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Damn it.
Nico!
Oh my god.
And that means the winner is
Mickey.
Mickey.
It's okay.
And now, for the last one, we have, in my opinion, a really funny one. This theory states that in week 4 of Big Brother 15, after America accidentally nominated fan favorite, the producers rigged the veto competition for the week to ensure that Alyssa won it. For a really
So fucking
quick
dumb,
summary
walking
the
off of
background
shit. I just
info,
want to fucking
the main
be like,
twist of Big Brother 15 was the
play fucking tower.
MVP twist, which allowed for America to vote for one player to have the power to nominate a third nominee. Alyssa was voted the MVP by the fans for the first 3 weeks of the game, but the producers switched it up in week 4 and made America the MVP. So now, whoever the audience voted for would just be the third nominee instead of being the person who named the third nominee. However, a lot of the viewers didn't get the memo and still voted for Alyssa anyways, which led to Alyssa receiving enough votes to actually become the third nominee. The theory goes that the production team realized that a lot of the viewers messed up with their votes and that they didn't actually want Alyssa gone. So to make up for the viewers' mistake, they influenced the veto competition for the week in order to give Alyssa an edge. The veto comp in question involved the players searching through a mud pit for ballots worth differing amounts of points, and you had 8 minutes to try and find 4 ballots that would add up to the highest point total. Alyssa was put all the way on the left side, and throughout the competition, Alyssa kept finding some pretty solid point values, including one worth 20 points. In the end, Alyssa did end up winning the veto to keep herself safe and fix the viewer's mistake, but some people suspected foul play. On the live feeds, Aaron kept complaining about how Alyssa's side had so many high-value ballots and that her side had such low values in comparison.
God damn it, dude.
As well as some viewers to believe that the production crew intentionally loaded up Alyssa's side with high numbers so that she would win the veto and Aaron wouldn't. Do I believe this? Yeah, I kinda do, but at the same time, I also don't care. In this situation, I am perfectly okay with production influencing the game because I simply don't like Aaron, and Alyssa winning the veto was the best outcome. Also though, this might not even be true. Aaron still found some pretty high numbers, and Alyssa's numbers weren't even that crazy other than the 20 that she found, so I can also totally believe that it was just a coincidence and that Alyssa won fair and square. Either way, Aaron lost, and that was pretty cool to watch.
Alyssa, the MVP has chosen you as the third nominee.
Whoever earns the most votes will win the power of veto.
I have to win this. So I'm gonna fight very hard in this veto and take myself off the block. When I get the 20 votes, I also realize that I can't participate in next week's veto. I have to ensure my safety.
Aaron, you have 32 votes. Congratulations, you are now in the lead. Alyssa, you have agreed to sit out the next veto competition, but Congratulations, Alyssa! With 40 votes, you have won the
Oh.
power of veto.
Whoever secretly nominated me, you're gonna have to try a lot harder to get me out of this house, because I'm not going anywhere.
Congratulations. Good job, everyone.
The first conspiracy theory that we'll go over is by far the most recommended theory that I've gotten in the last month, and that's the theory that in week 5 of Big Brother 25, Corey voted to evict Jag, but the producers spliced the footage to make it look like he voted to evict Red. If I'm being perfectly honest, I didn't even want to go over this one, but I had enough comments about it where I thought I would at least mention it. The reason that this is a conspiracy theory in the first place is because when Corey casts his vote to evict Red, it looks like his mouth is actually saying Jag. However, this is one that we can quickly disprove, as Corey's brother Zach opened up about how Corey had a speech impediment growing up and had trouble pronouncing R words. And a speech therapist also chimed in to explain how the mouth would look like that if one had gone through speech therapy and worked on their R's. But even past that, what is the motive here? What's the intent? What does CBS have to gain by making it seem like Corey voted out Red over Jag? If this was a true split vote and Corey's vote would have decided it, then maybe there would be an ounce of credence as to why Big Brother might want to change his vote, but this vote was 8-2. I get why this theory snowballed, because it certainly can look like Corey was saying Jag instead of Red, but I think this has been more than cleared up, so it's a disproven theory.
Hello, Corey.
Hi, Julie.
Please cast your vote to evict.
I vote to evict Red.
According to Zach Wertenberger, he says that Corey grew up with a speech impediment. He's bad at saying R's, okay?
Okay.
The next conspiracy theory is one that I briefly touched upon in a recent video, and I got a lot of comments asking me to dig a little deeper, so here it is. This Big Brother conspiracy theory is the theory that in week 3 of Big Brother 14, when the coaches came back into the game, the eviction was not supposed to be canceled, but the producers shoehorned it in because they wanted to keep Frank in the game. For a little background info, it was week 3, Shane had won both the HOH and the veto, and he had gone through with his plan to target Frank by putting him up at the veto meeting. Frank didn't know it yet, but the votes were there to send him home, and he was going to get evicted come Thursday night. But there was a little something going on behind the scenes this whole time. The prior week, Julie had announced.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking sick of that.
An audience vote.
Why the fuck do they make it like that?
Whether or not the coaches
why would you ever add that?
the
Are you serious?
opportunity to enter the game as players at the
God, dude, I'm actually gonna fucking quit. I swear to God.
The eviction would take
what the fuck am I
The
doing?
viewers voted yes, so come eviction night, Julie revealed to the house guests that the coaches now had the opportunity to become players, and that if one of them hit the reset button, then all 4 coaches would enter the game and the game would be reset, and there would be no eviction that night. Hold on a second. I went through and checked the episodes, and as far as I can tell, there was never any mention of the eviction being canceled in the week leading up to this. I get that the show may have wanted the shock value of not announcing it until the very last minute, but it still felt very random and super unnecessary. Frank was an audience favorite, and everyone knew it, so this felt like a sneaky way to keep him in the game, while also not drawing too much attention to it, because the big focus was on the coaches returning. At this point, I am fully putting my conspiracy goggles on, because I had a sneaking suspicion about something. So, I went and checked. And what do you know, Big Brother 14 was the first season to ever feature 2 double evictions. It's almost as if they originally planned on having just 1 double as per usual, but then last minute decided to keep Frank in the game and added in a second double eviction as a way to cut down on the extra time. I am mostly just having fun with it at this point, but there definitely could be something here, so I'm gonna hesitantly believe it.
And I'll be back 1 week from tonight at 9 for the next live eviction. Plus, find out how America voted and if the coaches will enter the game. Before we begin the live vote and eviction, I have some news for you that may change the course of the game. America has decided that yes, they want to offer you the chance to get back in the game as players. You would reset the game right here, right now, meaning there would be no eviction tonight. And everyone would battle it out tonight for the title of head of household. House guests, the results are in. The reset button has been activated. Joe and Frank, neither of you will be evicted tonight.
I have worked my tail off all week to assure my safety. Now the coaches have been dropped into the game. Frank's not going home, and I have to walk the plank.
Mike just told me that I might have been going out the door tonight, and I can't believe it.
In one of the earlier conspiracy theory videos, I talked about an Evil Dick cheating incident, so why not talk about another one? The conspiracy theory in question is the theory that at the final 5 double eviction of Big Brother 8, Evil Dick cheated in the veto by purposely sabotaging Jamaica with a blue ball. Dick had won the final 5 HOH, and he had nominated Eric and Jamaica for eviction. The veto competition had loads of colored rubber balls rain down on the competitors, and the first player to put 8 green balls in their tube would win the veto. The competition starts off normal, but then things start to get a little fishy. At the beginning of the comp, you can see Dick put a blue ball into his pocket, then later he is shown holding it in his left hand, and then a few moments afterwards, the ball is no longer there, and Jamaica's tube is shown to have a blue ball in it, which disqualified her from the competition and ended her shot at winning the veto. Although we never actually see Dick put the ball in Jamaica's tube, things obviously look a little suspicious with all the pieces laid out in front of you. The incident was never addressed and was written off as a freak accident where a ball must have bounced and landed into Jamaica's tube. But have you ever tried those types of games at carnivals? That is super unlikely, especially when you look at how skinny the tubes were. The main thing going against this is that if Dick were to try and force a particular player to lose the veto, targeting Jamaica doesn't really make sense. Eric was the player Dick wanted evicted, and Zach winning the veto was the only way Dick possibly could have lost Danny that week, so it would make much more sense to try and make those two guys lose over Jamaica. So overall, as fun as this one is, I don't think it's too likely that it's true, but at the same time, I don't know. This guy thought outside the box a lot, and I wouldn't put it past him for a second.
Jamaica's still in the lead with 3 green balls.
Well, I'm nervous as hell.
Jamaica has 5. Zach has 5, but Jamaica, you have been disqualified. You put a blue ball in your clear tube.
That almost fell there.
Up next, we have one that I cannot believe I didn't cover in the first 3 parts, and that's the conspiracy theory that the final question of the final 4 HOH comp in Big Brother 9 was rigged so that the showrunners could choose whatever outcome they determined was more entertaining. For context, the final 4 HOH was a fact or fiction comp, where the players were read a statement pertaining to the season, and they had to answer whether it was fact or fiction. Going into the final question, Sharon had a 1-point lead over Ryan, and the statement was as follows. Fact or fiction? Everyone knows Jacob and Sharon and Ryan and Jen were 2 pre-existing relationships in the house. But there is a 3rd pre-existing relationship still in the house. The obvious and, dare I say, correct answer would be fiction. So that's what Sharon answered. But Ryan, knowing that he needed a Hail Mary to have a shot at winning, answered fact. Julie then came on to read the answer, and then radio silence for like an awkward amount of time. Here, let me demonstrate. Yeah, that long. Julie finally came back and said that it was indeed fact. And then a small graphic at the bottom of the screen showed text that said the guinea pigs. Big Brother was being sneaky and said that these guinea pig pets that were living
so
in
bad
the
at this
house
tower,
were
dude.
the
Oh my god, I could have beaten it right there. I'm so mad.
Which, sure, okay. This forced a tiebreaker between Ryan and Sharon, to which Ryan won, and Sharon ended up going home that week. What the heck? This was clearly a goofy question to begin with, and some fans feel like the producers purposely made the answer ambiguous so that they could choose whatever answer resulted in the most drama, like a tiebreaker. It is extremely suspicious that Julie took an 8-second pause to read the answer, but if I'm being honest, that could be attributed to Julie herself being flabbergasted by the answer. Most of the questions in this HOH competition were already pretty whack, and to be fair, we have seen Big Brother throw in trick questions before, like the teacup tiebreaker in Big Brother 8. However, this is clearly much more egregious and on a whole different level. Do I think it was rigged? Honestly, not necessarily. But do I think it was dumb? Absolutely.
Everyone knows Jacob and Sharon and Ryan and Jen were 2 pre-existing relationships.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Why did I just do that? Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! There's no fucking way!
The correct answer The correct answer is fact. We have a tie between Ryan and Sharon.
There's just no way that fucking happened.
Ryan, you're the new head of household. Sheila, hand over that key to the man.
Who's the relationship in the house?
She said existing in this house right now.
That's not true.
That would have to be you guys.
It
These
ain't
two, because me and Sharon both got it wrong.
Mother-daughter.
What?
I know it's not me. I know it's Sheila.
How is it me? I don't know any of these freaking people.
I don't know anybody in this house that's not me.
I'm knowing it's not me. Well, you know what? I don't know if it's not me.
Look, we gotta have a little fun around here. Maybe it's not actually a conspiracy theory, but where the is Cirie's veto chip? Through 9 weeks of Big Brother 25, Cirie has never been HOH, nor has she ever been nominated, which means that the only way that Cirie could play in a veto is through the veto draw. But guess what? Cirie's chip has literally never been drawn. And to top it off, she has also never been chosen as a house guest choice, meaning that Cirie has played in a total of 0 veto competitions 9 weeks through the season, even though her chip has been eligible to be drawn all 9 times. Keep in mind that I am not incorporating the final 9 round into this theory because, well, I'm currently on a trip home right now, so I wrote this last week. So this is only up through the final 10. For those that don't know, Cirie, and consequently her veto chip, have both just broken the record for the most consecutive rounds without playing in a veto / being chosen to play for the veto to start the season.
Oh my god, there's no way I just did that. Oh, there's no way, please.
I've seen some talks on the BB streets about how there's gotta be a conspiracy lying in here, so let's take a deeper look. I'm going to assume that there are 2 house guest choice chips in the veto bag, as the actual number has never been confirmed, but we have seen 2 of them drawn before. However, it's entirely possible that there are 3 or even more in the bag, we just don't know. So, factoring in the 2 house guest choice chips, the odds of Cirie's chip never being
wow, that was so clutch. Oh my god, that's crazy. There's no way.
Lower than that, but I guess not.
Holy crap.
Low, for sure,
I
but
gotta
that's
turn this
definitely
off. Holy crap, there's no way I actually clutched that hard, bro. Wow, I can't believe I actually did that. That's crazy. Dude, that actually stressed me the frick out. That's insane. Oh my god. That's so funny that happened. What's this tower called? 275. Isn't that like how many took on like high adrenaline? That's so funny. Well, second terrifying. Sick. Okay, I'm in the recording. Bye, guys.